Okay, here's the pearl. You were never waiting for the crown. You were always wearing it. This is the real embodiment of our inner authority, our sovereignty. And so today, I'm super excited to talk to you about inner authority and about the crown is within, always been there. So this is the last talk in our series of the sovereign self. And the first talk, I want to give you a little bit of the series arc. We started with I'm not broken, uncovering the stories of our brokenness. And then we talked about the death of victimhood, the death of giving our power away. And then the third talk was on the pattern is the portal, seeing the patterns that we're running as the curriculum for life, that they're actually breadcrumbs to our transformation and awakening. And then finally, sovereignty as a practice was last week, that consciousness precedes form, and that it's our consciousness that creates our reality. This week, the final talk in the sovereign self series, alliteration, I love it, is really about embodiment as remembrance, that the crown has always been here. We've always been wearing it. We weren't waiting for it. We weren't asking for permission for it. It was always there. It's been waiting for us to acknowledge our own divinity, our own king and queenship, our own sovereignty. So I really love this topic, and it's so profound. And in the center of it all is this idea of authority, of soul authority, spiritual authority, the inner authority. And soul authority, inner authority, it means that we're living in alignment with our inner compass. How do we get in alignment with our inner compass? Rythmia is a great place to do that. You know, when rythmia, we have what's called a soul merger. So once you see the patterns, once you can see the patterns and feel where they came from, then you can merge back to a state of wholeness. That state of wholeness isn't obscured by the voices of fear, doubt, lack, worry, limitation, not enoughness. I'm not safe. I don't belong. I'm not lovable. I'm not worthy. It's not obscured by those voices. And the sovereign self isn't driven by fear. It's not driven by our coping strategies, people pleasing, perfectionism, control. It's driven through devotion. It's driven through our practice. It's driven through our mindfulness. It's driven through our willingness to consistently see life as the curriculum. It's about listening to that voice that's not louder, but truer, that's not fast, getting it done fast, but it is deeper. It's nothing to prove. This is a big one, nothing to prove. This is spiritual authority. This is inner authority. When I am connected with myself, when I can hear the truth of my authentic self. And so often we hear, I just went through this whole process of hearing that voice and not honoring it, or getting confused, right? Like, I hear it, yeah, but then there's all these other voices, and the mind goes, well, but there's this possibility and that possibility. But there was a point when I knew it. I knew the inner voice was telling me, and it was so aligned, it was so clear. And then someone said something. Then I started thinking. And here's the beautiful thing. Everything's always working together for our good, always, no matter what. So the beautiful thing is that no matter what, it's more important that you make a choice than that you choose right. The devil at the crossroads is telling you, don't make a choice. You could choose wrong. You might as well just stay here. That's the only danger right there. That's the only danger, is not doing anything. So make the choice. Whether you think it's in alignment or not, make the choice, and you'll get further down the road and see, oh, that wasn't that's not serving me any longer. And then you can make a different choice, but choose. That's actually another part of inner authority, is just choosing and trusting. Now, we want to assess, analyze, feel, most importantly, feel into it. And then you do your best. That's what I'm doing. I'm just doing my best. So sovereignty is action. This is what we're seeing, right? Sovereignty is making the choice. It's not analysis paralysis. It's not something you think about. It's something that you live. Sovereignty in action is actually integration and embodiment. Sovereignty in action is actually integration and embodiment. So when we start to become sovereign, when we start to connect with our inner authority, then it's time to re-examine the agreements that we've made. We could have been making some agreements based on an old paradigm that are no longer valid. So we might want to check our agreements. Am I honoring them? Are they still honoring me? You know? And there's 3 hallmarks of sovereignty. Clarity is the first hallmark of sovereignty, that I know who I am and I know what I value and I know that I'm valuable just as I am, not because I'm proving myself or doing anything. I'm valuable as I am. This is the clarity that comes with the first level of sovereignty. And then cohesion, where my actions are in alignment with my knowing. So we might have this awakening and come to this, oh my God, inner authority. I hear that inner voice. And then we got to review. What agreements have I made? Are they in alignment with my new knowing? That's cohesion. So when things start to become coherent, in alignment, then the last piece of sovereignty is compassion. Because I'm not always going to choose right. Not that there's a wrong or a right, but we learn through our mistakes. I do. So we experiment. We check it out. That didn't work. That's not bad. It just didn't work. So I can have compassion for myself that I chose, that I actually took a step forward, that I actually took action. And that action might not have panned out. That's okay. Can I be compassionate towards myself? Can I be, and this is part of the inner knowing, that it's easy to be compassionate or to be in alignment when everything's going right. But when things aren't going right, that's when we really have to lean into our inner authority. We have to really lean into our knowing that who we are, what I value is not given to me through external circumstances and conditions. It's not given to me through a person or a title. It's from within. And then when it's that internalized interior sovereignty, inner authority, soul authority, then independent of circumstance and conditions, independent of what's going on in the external world, I can still connect in with me, and my joy isn't robbed, my love isn't robbed, my compassion isn't robbed, it doesn't mean I'm insensitive to what's going on, but it means that I am in tune with the truth that's always there. That, as Reverend Michael says, that inviolate part of me. That part that is what the Taoists call your poo. Your poo nature. That's right, baby. P-U. P-U. Your poo nature. In Taoist philosophy or Taoist teachings, the poo nature is the uncarved block. That part of you that is solid and has never been carved, never been hurt, never been harmed, never been endangered. That part of you that got covered up by the experience and vicissitudes of life. That's that part that's underneath all the crap, all the grit and grime from the journey. That's your poo nature. That's your true authority. That's your inner compass. And that's where the crown is within. The crown is within. You have not been waiting for it. You've been wearing it the whole time. It's just waiting for your acceptance. There's a great line in a lot of New Thought teaching that my acceptance makes it real and opens the space for creation to rush in. We have to accept. How many times in life have people been offering to do things for you or for me, and I couldn't accept it? No, I got it. I don't want to impose. No, I can do it. No. Thank you, so kind. But there's somebody, the universe is trying to bestow a blessing upon me, and I'm rejecting it. The blessing's always there, but I'm rejecting it. Same with your crown. always been there. We've been rejecting it. No, that can't be me. No, I'm not that. No, 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 no. I'm worthless. I'm stupid. I'm not smart. I'm whatever it is. The crown's always been there. I just have to accept my divinity, accept my sovereignty, accept that I'm a king and you're a king or a queen or whatever, or both. Maybe you're not non-binary sovereign. I don't know, but you're just sovereign. This is the crown within. Remembering that the crown is a metaphor for our inner authority, our wholeness, our divinity, and that's not something you earn. That's not something you chase. That's not something to be granted to you. That is something that is your birthright by consciousness. Now, we talked last week about consciousness precedes form. So it's your birthright by consciousness. However, you only have a right to that which you can hold in consciousness. So if I'm holding that I'm broken, if I'm holding that I'm not enough, if I'm holding that there's something wrong with me, I don't deserve the crown. It's not going anywhere. I'm just not accepting it. It's just like I'm rejecting it. But when I can accept my birthright and hold in consciousness that I am a king, that you're a king, that you're a queen, that we're sovereign, I can hold that, then by right of consciousness, I deserve everything that I can hold in my consciousness. It is the consciousness of the observer that creates the reality. It is the consciousness of the observer that changes the potentiality into a form, that takes that which was in the realm of infinite potential and infinite possibility and brings it into the realm of the material world, that makes it real. I have to accept it. I have to accept my divinity. I have to accept my crown, baby. By right of consciousness. Now, the world may forget. You may have forgotten because of the world. But now it's time to remember. Now it's time to recall. Now it's time to recollect. All that we have forgotten. Our absolute authority. And this isn't about domination. It's not about superiority or inferiority or even equality. This is about your radiance. Your radiance, your radiance. This is about your brilliance. It's about what's shining forth from within. It's not something that dominates. It's not something that has to be superior to. It's something that knows from within, I'm the king. And I'm incomparable, as Reverend Michael teaches. I'm incomparable. And me being incomparable doesn't take away from you being incomparable, because there's no comparison. I'm without comparison. There's never been another me, won't be in the future, never has been. Incomparable. That's my crown. That's your crown. It's not here to dominate. It's not here to be superior. It's here to remember that I'm the sovereign of my own domain, not of your domain, of my domain. And what happens in a king's domain or a queen's domain, what the king or the queen say, that happens. That's what happens in the queen's domain or in the king's domain. I say it and it happens. You want to live in that world? I want to live in that world. I'm living in that world. This is amazing. I'm getting ready to go on a 4-week vacation, a month-long vacation that I dreamed of. I thought about it at the beginning of the year. I said, Rythmia is closed for 2 weeks in September, but they're not anymore, but they were going to be. So why don't I take the 2 weeks that they're closed and add 2 weeks on, and I'll take a month. I did. And then everything got planned. I invited some friends. Hey, you want to join me for this part of this trip? You want to join me for that part? Yeah. People said, oh, then they planned it. They planned the trip. I'm just showing up to my vacation. This is amazing. So that's an example of I spoke it and it happened effortlessly. This is the world of sovereignty. This is the world of wearing your crown and accepting your crown, accepting the divinity within, accepting that you are the sovereign of your domain. And that what happens in your world is because you want it to, because you spoke it into existence. Now, there is a little bit of this that's talking that, that seems a little bit like totally individualistic. And I want to say we are the power. We have the power. We are not victims. We're creators, not creatures. at the same time, it is important that we realize that we're in relationship to the world at large. And there are other energies in the world, other powers in the world, other kings and queens in the world. And now I get to be in relationship with them and to realize that it's my relationship to the other powers around me, whether it's the king or queen that's my neighbor or my brother or my sister, or whether it's the king or queen that's the tree outside my door or the mountain outside my window. They're all sovereign, or the ocean just down the street. Powerful beings, powerful spirits, powerful entities of which I get to be in relationship with. And when I'm in relationship with them, not against them, but in relationship with them, I get to share their power. I get to, and it's not about humility, it's about respect. You know, we have this sense of humility that meek shall inherit the earth is a myth. The respectful shall inherit the earth. I respect the earth. I respect the mountain. I respect the ocean. I respect you. I respect me. This is the way that we stand in relationship, and we are in relationship to everything, and we are connected to everything. Therefore, I have to acknowledge this beautiful planet that gave me the food that I just ate for lunch. That I didn't create that food. I did, but I didn't. It came from something, you know. I created my life where I'm receiving, but that food that I created came from something. I got to acknowledge that. I've got to be in relationship with and acknowledge and be respectful of how I depend on other energies to create. So this is the part of remembering what was never lost. Remembering your poo nature, remembering the divinity, the crown of divinity that you have always worn and have never had to ask permission for. It is only waiting for your acceptance. So today, are you ready to accept your divinity? Are you ready to accept your crown? Are you ready to remember who you are? Are you ready to walk in alignment with your soul? Are you ready to honor the divine within you? Just let that sit for a moment. Just say to yourself, I'm ready. I'm ready to remember who I am. I'm ready to honor and be aligned with my soul. I'm ready to remember the divinity and the crown that is within. I'm ready. I'm ready. That it's not only within me, but it's within all beings. I'm ready to see it in everyone because I can now see it in myself. All right. I think this is our talk. This is our talk for today. I'm so grateful and so thankful. Thank you for checking in. Sending you all much love, richest blessings, and I will see you next time. Blessings.